something subtle has changed in people. Not their intelligence, but their ability to feel. In recent years, observers of social behavior have noticed a subtle yet profound shift in the emotional landscape of modern society. People appear present but distant, connected yet detached. Conversations feel shorter, empathy feels weaker, and emotional responses often seem muted or delayed. This is not merely a personal feeling shared by a few individuals, it is a collective phenomenon emerging across cultures and generations. From a psychological perspective, emotional disconnection does not mean the absence of feelings. Rather, it reflects a disruption in how emotions are processed, expressed, and shared. Many individuals still experience anxiety, sadness, joy, or anger. But these emotions often remain internalized, filtered, or suppressed. The result is a society where people feel deeply but rarely show it. Sociologists argue that this emotional distancing is closely tied to modern lifestyles. Urbanization, digital communication, and the acceleration of daily life have reduced opportunities for deep human interaction. Face-to-face conversations are replaced by screens, and emotional nuance is compressed into emojis, short messages, or silence. Over time, this reshapes how people relate to one another. Philosophically, this condition raises questions about the nature of human connection itself. If humans are fundamentally social beings, what happens when the structures that support emotional intimacy begin to erode? Thinkers have long warned that when societies prioritize efficiency over meaning, individuals may lose touch not only with others, but with themselves. This chapter sets the foundation for understanding emotional disconnection, not as a personal failure, but as a systemic condition. It is a symptom of deeper social and psychological forces at work, shaping behavior in ways that are often invisible until their consequences become impossible to ignore. The greatest danger of modern life is not suffering, but numbness. Erich Fromm. One of the most significant contributors to emotional disconnection is technological overstimulation. Modern individuals are exposed to unprecedented amounts of information, notifications, images, and opinions every single day. The human nervous system, however, evolved in environments far quieter and slower than the digital world of today. Neuroscientific research suggests that constant stimulation forces the brain into a state of adaptive shutdown. When everything demands attention, the mind learns to conserve energy by responding less deeply. This protective mechanism may reduce overwhelm, but it also dulls emotional sensitivity. Over time, people may feel less moved by events that once evoked strong reactions. Social media intensifies this effect by transforming human experiences into consumable content. Tragedy, joy, outrage, and intimacy appear side by side in endless streams, each given only seconds of attention. Emotional responses become fragmented and fleeting, rarely allowed to fully develop or integrate into personal understanding. From a philosophical standpoint, this environment encourages what can be called surface living. Experiences are observed rather than lived, reacted to rather than reflected upon. When attention is constantly pulled outward, inner life weakens. Emotional depth requires stillness, and stillness has become increasingly rare. As attention collapses under overstimulation, emotional connection suffers. People may struggle to listen fully, to be present, or to engage with complexity. This does not indicate a lack of care, but rather a mind trained to move on too quickly to feel deeply. Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. Simone Weil. Another critical factor in emotional disconnection is the rise of social performance. Modern society increasingly rewards appearance over authenticity. Individuals are encouraged to present curated versions of themselves, confident, productive, happy, and successful, regardless of their inner reality. Psychologically, this creates a split between internal experience and external expression. When emotions do not align with socially acceptable narratives, they are often hidden or suppressed. Over time, repeated suppression can weaken emotional awareness itself. People may lose the ability to clearly identify what they feel. Work culture plays a major role in this dynamic. Productivity-driven systems often leave little room for vulnerability, reflection, or emotional processing. feelings become obstacles to efficiency rather than signals of human needs. As a result, emotional expression is postponed, minimized, or pathologized. Philosophers have long warned that societies obsessed with performance risk alienating individuals from their true selves. When identity becomes a project to manage rather than a reality to inhabit, authenticity erodes. Emotional disconnection then becomes not a choice, but a survival strategy. This chapter reveals that emotional distance is not always the absence of emotion, but often the result of emotional labor performed continuously and without rest. In such conditions, numbness can feel safer than honesty. The most painful state of being is remembering the future, particularly the one you'll never have. Søren Kierkegaard. Beyond technology and social pressure lies a deeper issue: the erosion of shared meaning. Many individuals today struggle not only with emotions, but with purpose. Traditional sources of meaning, community, religion, stable identities, have weakened, while new frameworks have yet to fully replace them. Existential psychology describes this condition as meaning fatigue. When life feels repetitive, uncertain, and disconnected from larger narratives, emotional engagement declines. Why feel deeply if nothing seems to last or matter? Emotional withdrawal becomes a rational response to perceived meaninglessness. Philosophically, this reflects a crisis of values. When societies emphasize consumption, competition, and constant self-optimization, individuals may struggle to locate intrinsic worth. Emotions, once tied to shared stories and collective goals, lose their grounding. This loss of meaning does not always manifest as despair. More often, it appears as indifference, cynicism, or quiet exhaustion. People continue functioning, but without emotional investment. Life becomes something to manage rather than experience. Understanding emotional disconnection therefore requires acknowledging its existential dimension. Without meaning, emotions have nowhere to root themselves. Reconnection, then, is not only emotional work, but philosophical work. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Friedrich Nietzsche. Emotional disconnection is not irreversible. Awareness itself is the first step toward change. When individuals recognize that numbness and distance are shared experiences shaped by social conditions, shame gives way to understanding. This recognition restores a sense of collective humanity. Scientific research suggests that emotional sensitivity can be retrained. Practices such as deep listening, reflection, reduced digital exposure, and meaningful conversation help rebuild emotional awareness. These are not quick fixes, but gradual shifts in how attention and presence are cultivated. Philosophically, reconnection begins with questioning dominant narratives. What does it mean to live well? What deserves emotional investment? When individuals reclaim the right to feel deeply, without performance or productivity, they challenge systems that benefit from emotional detachment. This video is not an accusation, but an invitation to observe, to reflect, and to reconnect. Emotional depth is not weakness. It is a form of intelligence, one that societies cannot afford to lose. If this content resonated with you, consider supporting the channel. Like the video, subscribe for future explorations of society, psychology, and philosophy, and share your thoughts in the comments. Awareness grows when ideas are shared. The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates.